I think the girls are going to use, and maybe the boys too, who knows, are going to use these a lot on our camping trip in 10 days. In 10 days, I am going camping. We're going to this really like remote place. So cute. It's here in Indiana, but it's called Sheepy Acres. So cute. I'm so excited about it. Can you tell I'm the one who planned the location? My name is Bethany, and this is the Knitting Thru podcast. If you are new here, welcome. There are a few new faces that have been... Sorry about the light. I am literally trying to control the sun right now. And it's just, when you're in a fight with a star, a celestial body, often you lose. Welcome here. My name is Bethany, and this is a knitting podcast. I have other crafty stuff I do, but mostly it's knitting centric. And yeah, so I have several finished objects to show you. I'm really excited about that. That's not always the case. So that's fun. And lots of whips too. So strap in. You might need to, watch this in parts, or I have little chapters of finished objects and works in progress, and then anything afterwards. Okay, I'm gonna start off. I'm gonna clear a couple of things before I start. Number one, I have this huge thing on my nose. I am aware of it. Thank you for noticing. It's super uncomfortable. So, it's right where my glasses sit, and I don't normally wear my glasses for, podcasting anyway, but I have been having these horrible headaches, some really rough body days. For those of you who've been around for a while, you might know that I'm like trying to figure out, what's wrong with me. So not wearing my glasses is giving me more headaches, but wearing them just really hurts because I have this gigantic deep zit on my nose. So anyway, if you see me struggling with, anything right now, obviously the sun is also just not on my side right now. Although I will say with the curtain, I have some like not blackout curtains that are really doing well right now. Anyway, there's that. And then also I wanted to tell you guys, I just started a teaching job where I am teaching people to knit. It is so exciting. It's so fun. I have a class for children and I have a class for adults, and it's just life-giving for me right now. I don't know if I will always want to be, putting craft into income-based life choices, but right now it is really working for me. So there's that. That's been really fun. Monday nights I go and I teach knitting in the evening, and it's just really great. So yeah, there's that. I think that's it. I think that's all I wanted to clear with you. Yeah. Like there's another thing. Well, if we figure it out, I'll talk to you about it when I think of it. Oh, another exciting thing that happened is that's the other thing I wanted to tell you, was that we've hit a monetization level here on the Knitting Thru podcast, which is really fun. And I have no idea what it means for me. I have no idea what it's going to look like. I've turned memberships on the channel. There is nothing behind that paywall right now. So if you just want to be supportive, you can do that. But if you're waiting for member only video to pop up. That might be sometime this month. I've been thinking about it and wanted to ask you guys what kind of content you like to see behind the membership paywall, because personally I just really like to see what is going on in that person's life, like whatever they're willing to share. If like their channel is about knitting, I want to know like what are they also sewing, what is going on, are they doing like a house renovation project, are they stressed out about Christmas, are they like whatever is going on. But I feel like it's kind of conceited for me to assume that that's what everybody else would want to see. And yeah, so if you have a second, just leave me a little comment about like what you like to see, or if you haven't seen like the content you're thinking of, what you would like to see. So that's that. Okay, cleared, done. First finished object. Oh golly, guys, I have a gnat issue with one of my plants, and so if you see me just looking crazy like that, it's because there's a very, very small bug flying in front of my face. This is my first finished object. It is the ginormous Summer Fade Hexie blanket that I've been working on for months and months, and it's very long and beautiful. Oh my goodness. It is so great. I'll tell you what, I've been using it constantly since I finished it. The kids have been using it constantly. I finished it not a super long time ago. Today is October 3rd. The Stephen West MCal first clue comes out today. That's going to be fun. And I finished it maybe 10 days ago, something like that. It was, well, no, more than that, because it was right before the autumnal equinox, and I thought, oh, how fun. Summer fade hexie blanket. Summer is fading away. That's really cool that lined up, because honestly, with my crafting, the seasons don't, like, I have stuff on my needles and hooks way longer than I anticipated. So this is just absolutely so wonderful. I've had to wash it like 3 times at this point because someone spilled ketchup on it, and a couple other things happened to it. I don't know. I just remember looking at it and being like, oh no. And so I've already had to run it through the wash a few times. It's come out beautifully. The pattern is wonderful. I followed the notes on Ravelry that Natalie of Nitty Natty has, except for round. She like adds another round on it, and I didn't do that. I did follow her notes for round 3 and round 4, but I didn't do a round 5 like she does. So that's just lovely, and came out really well. I also added some half hexies, you can see here. I just kind of looked up how to do half a hexie, and of course this stitch, what do I want to say? The tutorials I watched were on how to do a half granny square hexie, granny square, granny stitch, granny cluster hexie. Can you tell crochet is not my like main deal? So I just kind of saw how they flipped things around and did it flat and did it like that. And I'm really, really satisfied with it. I like that a lot better. I think the sides with their little corners, those are totally fine. And I don't even know how I would do like a third of a hexie for that. I don't really even, my brain cannot with that. But this being like the whole half, it was like just flopping down. So it worked out beautifully up here. And then on the bottom, of course, I have my other colors going on. And that worked out perfectly too. I didn't know if I would have enough of the colors that I had going to do that, but it turned out to be perfect. I just had the teeniest bits left of them, and yeah, the ones that I only did 1/2 hexie of, I only had enough to do 1/2 hexie of, and then the ones that I did 2 for, I had enough for those. So it worked out really, really well. Yeah, just 2. I was making sure I didn't have 3 1/2 hexies for the dark green. So let me go through these yarns real quick. I haven't gone through them every time, and so I feel like they should all be mentioned, you know. So this one, oh, well, let's start with the main one, shall we? This one is Barocco Vintage sock yarn in the colorway Mochi. It has, yes, it has a color number also, which is, do you like my little binder clip with all my, I still am missing one though. You'll see. 12001. So I ended up with, I think I bought an extra skein of the white because I just wasn't sure how much of the border I wanted to do. I ended up doing the border exactly like she says to do it, you know, with the exception that this was just straight across on the top because the 1/2 hexies evened it out. So I have like 149 grit. Look how it like glows. It's such a cool toned white. It just glows. I really love cool toned whites, and that's one of the things that's a little bit hard with more natural wools is there isn't like a cool toned white sheep. You know, there are cooler toned black sheeps, but not white ones. It's always this warm like yellowish white going on, and so I really liked this here. Just seems like very, very clean to me. The next one was a yarn that was gifted to me, and it's this peachy tan situation in there, and it just came with this little note that says this was a mystery kit. All I know is that it's sock yarn. So perfect for this one, and that was the one that I was a little bit worried about washing. I'm fine with soaking lots of things like garments, socks, all the things. I usually block a thing after I finish it, not necessarily because everything needs to be blocked for the shape or for whatever, but just because I like for it to be clean. After I drag my projects all over the place. I drag them in the car, I drag them to camping trips, I drag them, and who knows where the yarn was before it got to me. So I just I just block it all the time. But with a blanket, I didn't want to have to soak it, and then I do just let it dry, air dry, but I think it's okay for that to happen because it doesn't take very long because I do like a rinse and spin in the washer. So but it turned out beautifully. It's wonderful. The next one here, which is like this gold, is a merino, wait, I just saw it. Merino cashmere nylon blend. It's the Smooshi cashmere base from Dream in Color, and it's the colorway Naked Shame. Now I have quite a bit of this left because I had to buy a second skein. I wouldn't have had to if I hadn't used a little bit of it before for a different project. So I was already starting out with like 99 grams. By the time I finished the second one, I had 99 grams left of. So I would have like made it had I just done one, even though it was taking 11 to 12 grams per hexie instead of the 10 that I was getting from the other yarns I was using. This yellow is a yarn that I dyed last spring. I was trying to do some botanically dyed stuff, failed miserably, and then dyed it with food coloring as I was frustrated. So came out really saturated because I was like upset. So it's beautiful though. I really like it. And then the orange is from JHC Wools in the colorway Hephaestus, which is this Greek god who's like a blacksmith. And I just really like him in all the stories that I've heard of. And so I really liked this orange. It has these tones in it, and there are even like these super dark orange parts, which I'm sure are supposed to be the flames of fire he works with. That's a 75-25 nylon base. Yeah, Greek god of the forge, it says. And so the yarn that I dyed last year was a Knit Picks Bear yarn. So it was a 75-25 as well. The red is 2 different colors that I held together. I don't know if I have any more of the, I think I'm using the red, like the plain red that I held with this in something else because it's not here. But it is, I did 3 different yarns for this. So at first I held the rest of this mini that I had called Carnelian by Knitted Wit. And this is also a 75-25 merino nylon blend. And I held it with this Azula colorway from Teeny Button Studio. I love her stuff. I love this. And I held it together with the other red because I wanted to have enough left to do something else with this because I really liked that yarn and wanted to have more left over for like a hat or something. And then once I ran out of the Carnelian, I started using Cranberry, which is the Periwinkle sheep colorway. And I got this while I was in New York on my way to New Hampshire to a knitting retreat. I went to, it was earlier in the year, right? Because was it in January? And that was hosted by Judy and Marie, and they are the Autumn Acorn and Old Thyme Knits, but thyme is spelled like the herb. And it was just such a good, it was so good. I've emoted about that a lot, but I think they're doing it again. Yes, they are doing it again. So look up their stuff if there's like openings. I don't know if there's more openings yet. I don't think I can go this next time, but I just love like cheering for them and rooting for them for stuff. You'll see that later in the podcast. But you'll hear about Judy again. So yeah, I held the cranberry one. I have it somewhere. I had a bunch left over of it. I don't know where the rest of it is. I must have immediately put it in something else, but I do have the tag for you. This is this purpley purpley gray is another one that I dyed when I was doing failed botanically dyed things. I had 3 different skeins that I did. I did a yellow one, I did this purpley gray one, and I did a pink one. And so I've used both of them in here. I still have the pink one left to choose, what to do with it, but that's kind of par for the course. My pink choices are always, I'm like really, really picky about what happens with them. And that's because I'm just picky about lots of colors. So, but I have over 20 grams of this left, which is really fun. I think I will put some of it in scrappy socks because what I'd like to do is take each of these colors and put them in a scrappy sock because some of them have like the teeniest bit left. Like this first color just has like, it's very, I think it's maybe 3 grams left covered in my hair. And so that one is all in. This one I don't have the tag for anymore. I don't know where I put it, guys. The organization level here, this is like, I think one of the first times that I've done a podcast where I feel like I don't know where hardly anything is. I'm trying to like get back to like homeostasis around like crafts and stuff. But first of all, I'm a little bit like behind mentally because I had surgery. Oh, come on. I had surgery. I had like this big play that my kids were doing. Sorry, I'm going to take this off. This is the Champagne cardigan by Petite Knit, by the way. But it's warm, so I'm going to take it off. We had this play that our kids were in that was really great. They were in Finding Nemo and it was so fun. But like we just had so much going on. But it's October 3rd. Like September and especially October is like peak fall crafting. Like it's always knitting season in my house, but like fall is knitting season. And so I have not paused at all to organize anything, to find anything. So anyway, you'll just have to take my word for it on this one. But as if like people are doubting me, I don't know if that's the colorway she said. But this one is a yarn from the Minimal Knitter, and it's in the colorway Atlantic. I just really enjoy how brilliant and like just so saturated that is. Oh, it's so good. The next one is this light blue. It's this tonal blue. I love it. I cannot wait to put it in some scrappy socks. This is from the last year's advent of the sock sets from Mouse Witch Yarns. So that's my friend Mandy. She's fantastic. She has a podcast called Mouse's Makes. Oh my gosh, that took forever. This is from the second week of the Advent kit. I have two more full skeins from that. It came with 4, right, for every Sunday of Advent, and I've used 2 so far, but again, it's because I'm being picky about where I put them. This teal color is from a Variations yarn. So it's called Variations. Oh. And it's also 75/25 Australian Merino in the colorway 317 Emerald Waters. And that's just beautiful, isn't it? Probably only to be surpassed by this beautiful green. This green has my heart. Like, oh, it's so good. It's so good. I am contemplating getting a bunch of this and making a sweater out of it because it's just, oh, it's so good. It comes from the Treasure Goddess, and it's the yak base, the Treasured Yak Toes sock yarn. It is a 70 superwash merino, 20 yak, 10 nylon. So I think I'm going to use this, what's left. There's not very much left of it, obviously, because I had to, but like that's pretty good for all of the hexies plus 2 half hexies that I had to do. So I think I might have enough for toes on the scrappy pair of socks with this, and I think yak on toes is just such a brilliant idea. It's a great idea. It's what I'm doing. So anyway, I am so happy to be done with this. I think crochet blankets might just be the way forward for me. I like knitting. I also love how this is like heavier. I love how warm it is. It's obviously made of, superwash wool, and I love that I can throw it in the washer. The first few times I threw it in, I put some color catcher sheets in with it, and I'm really glad I did because actually the first time it came out, I did that, and still there was like a stain all the way around this corner, just like splotchy, of yellow and gold tones. So I don't know which one it came from. I mean, if I would bet, I would say it was the one I did, but there were even some darker tones in it than this yellow, than just this yellow. So I'm not sure who the culprit was, but I pulled it out, saw that was there, immediately put it back in to rinse it again with more color catcher sheets, and since then it's been totally fine. So success all around. This has been just wonderful, and I want to just lay it across my lap now. I really have, it's just gone immediately into family use, and the kids were so excited when I finished it. In fact, my 2 younger ones were like using it like a, you know, how you use those parachutes and stuff. I actually had to ask them to be more careful with it because they were so excited. So, oh, by the way, I used a 4mm hook for the blanket, and all of the yarns were fingering yarns held double. So yeah, it's a DK weight pattern, but it worked really well. Okay, the next finished object I have is half of a half and half wrap. For those of you who are into the half and half wraps, I think that they are beautiful. I think that they are for specific people. I am not a person who's into like miles and miles of stockinette or like flat garter or whatever, where it's just knit stitches all the time. I know there are some people who like that is their happy place. That is where they can zone out. And once they get through the yoke of a sweater, like, and they're just going on that body and the sleeves, they're just like, that's what they love. But actually, when I get done with the yoke of the sweater, that's one of the harder parts for me because the interesting part is all done. So I thought I would really like doing a half and half wrap because I used to have to sit with my kiddos when they would fall asleep. They just obviously were small and needed some security with their mama sitting there, and I wanted to be able to just work on something, but it's really dark, and so I would often do socks, but once I was to the heel of the sock, I wouldn't really have anything to work on. So I determined that I needed more than one thing that was stockinette in the round or garter. So then, though, the kiddos stopped needing me as much at night, which is fabulous, by the way. Not grieving that really very much, but it's really great. So I was doing my little half and half wrap. I was doing my German short rows, which the half and half wrap is a free pattern by Pearl Soho, by the way. You can just look it up, and that's why I'm going to talk really freely about it, because I'm not like giving away any secret sauce. I cast on 200 stitches. That's not the stitch count for either size. They have a big size and a bigger size. I think the big size is 190. So I did 200 because I just like round numbers, and I cast it onto a US 3, a 3.25 millimeter needle. I think that's part of why it didn't come out as big. I have a pretty good grip on my needles and yarn, so my tension is usually determined by everyone's tension is determined by the diameter of their needle. What I mean to say is that some people are looser knitters, and so they have to go down quite a few sizes. I often can go with the recommended needle size, but if that's not the size I'm going to go with, I have to size up because I'm on the tighter side. If that makes sense. Sorry, when I talk about gauge, I try to be specific, but so this fabric has a couple of things that I am learning from. I think it's still a success in one way, total failure in another way. So this is supposed to have another color, right, on this side. And that's how you do half and half, right? And then you fold it in half and you wrap it around, and it's just like this big, squishy, gorgeous thing that you have, you know, around you. So I was going to put this together. This is a Pearl Soho good wool in the color Blue Moon. You can see these beautiful tones in there. I think we might be losing some light if I pull this back while it blinds me. Maybe it will. I'm gonna be adventurous. Hang on. It's this beautiful blue gray. It has, you can see like the tonalities in it. I really, really like it. I was going to put it with this one, which is like a purpley gray, and this one is called Coastal, let's see if I can guess it, Coastal Tides. Is that right? No, Coastline Gray. Not that close, actually. Okay, Coastline Gray, which is a funny color name for it because I would say at night under the electric light it looks gray, but it's got purple all over it. So, yeah. So I got to almost halfway or over halfway in my German short rows, and I was like, I'm so done with this thing. I'm just gonna bind it off and see if it is in okay shape and move on with my life. So I did an I-cord bind off here, and I blocked it, and it was not an okay shape. It was a weird shape, and I didn't know how I could possibly make it work. I turned it all around, all the ways, and so you'll see when I put it on, where I had cast it off meets right with this shoulder. So it just wasn't big enough to be a functional piece of fabric for me. So I went ahead and I picked up that side again so that I would just continue knitting, you know, those stitches. And I kept with my I-cord side here, and I have an I-cord side here as well. I did it on both sides. One of the things that I didn't think about how the I-cord would restrict that edge so much. I like that this is my cast on edge, and it's like way stretchier. So if I ever did do it again, I might choose a different way to clean up that edge because I don't like the garter bumps edge. It's not my favorite thing. I guess I could have just done like a slip stitch, like one, which I do a lot. I even do that on garments, you know, for the selvages to look really pretty on the inside. But yeah, it's functional. It's still good. Just a learning piece for me that my I-cord sides are going to restrict it. So maybe in the future I need to like size up just for the I-cord or something. Choose a different thing. I don't know. I don't seem to have as much issue with one side as I do with this side, but I mean there's a little bit of give. But excuse me as I get fluff out of my eye. So I went ahead and picked these up. Then I just decreased on one side, which essentially is what I was doing with the German short rows, right? On here, but I had already closed those all up and, you know, bound it all off. So I just did a decrease the couple of stitches before the I-cord, and then I would pull the yarn in front and slip those last 3 stitches, then turn it and then knit the other way. So I actually really like it. I like the I-cord detail on it. I think I'm the only one, well, you too. This is giving Babushka, Virgin Mary. I really like it. I especially like it because it just goes right over that shoulder line. And it's very pretty. It's very pretty. and I think it'll be really functional. Also, another learning point for me is that I do like big old shawls, like huge shawls. And so the ones that I have kept for myself have not been this size. I've done one huge shawl this year, and I've done about 3 that are this size. And the 3 that I've done, I always just keep thinking of who I can give it away to. Whereas the one that I did for myself, the Sevilla shawl, I did them all for myself originally, except for the Caroline shawl. But the one that I have kept for myself, the Sevilla shawl, it's huge. That thing is huge. It could be used as a lap blanket. So I'm still going to keep this, but probably my girls are going to use it more than I will, because on them it is a big old shawl. This one and the utility shawl I made by Jonathan Day, I think the girls are going to use, and maybe the boys too, who knows, are going to use these a lot on our camping trip in 10 days. In 10 days, I'm going camping. We're going to this really like remote place. So cute. It's here in Indiana, but it's called Sheepy Acres. So cute. I'm so excited about it. Can you tell I'm the one who planned the location? Very excited about it. Okay, so here is just a cute little scrunchie. I made 3 of these before for my sister for her birthday. I do a provisional cast on mine because I just like the way that comes together in the end. And I find provisional cast-ons really easy to do, so it doesn't bug me to do that at all. This is the last of the yarn that I got when I was in California late last year. So that just is so satisfying to use the last of some souvenir yarn. I don't know where this is going to end up. It might end up for me. It might end up as a birthday gift for someone. I'm not sure, but I did the bind off with this pink, and this pink is like what was left over from one of the other scrunchies. So I just have the teeniest bit left of all 4 of these. This is all that's left. So I'm really pleased with using so much of that. I might put this in the leg of a sock or something just to have it done. It's 50% baby yak and 50% silk. And so I don't think it would wear very well. I mean, it might. Actually, silk is pretty hardy. But or I might just stuff it into a stuffy at some point. Let it be, I do. I keep things that are even this small to stuff things with. I've only made a few stuffies, but you might be surprised how many yarn scraps can fit in those. Speaking of stuffies, oh my gosh. Okay, guys, this is a little toad. He's so friggin' grumpy and cute. We have been watching Frog and Toad on Apple TV. It's absolutely fabulous. His little mouth has already kind of come undone. I need to put it back on this side. I guess I clipped that too close. But I have made this pattern before for my nephews. I have just cast on Frog, like barely. Where is he? Where's Frog? Here he is. So I've got, oh no, we're wrapped around the iron cord. I've got this, this is just the top of Frog's head. That's it. That's all I've got so far. But he's on the needles so that I get him done. And of course, I can't abandon him. I was just saying them like it was Frog and Toad, but I already made Toad, so. Or can't let Toad feel abandoned. I don't know. But this is the very top of his head. I'm about to do the chin shaping for him. I have my provisional cast on with like this. This is how I do it. I take that last stitch and put a stitch marker in it, And then when I take the stitch marker out, I know which side I need to unzip really easily. And so I still have that yarn even connected. So when I unzip it, I just wrap it back up and I don't lose any of it. So since this is just such a baby cast on, I would love to tell you what kind of yarn I'm using. I don't know where it is. I'll find it next time, I'm sure. I really do love the color though, and it's just so woolly. I think there's some alpaca in it. And I'm excited to use more of it for stuff because these don't take very much yarn at all. Some of you might have noticed that Toad's swimsuit in the books is green and white. And this guy has different shades of purple for what's going on with him. So I used the coastline gray as this color, this stripe. And then this one is just an unknown mini that was sent to me. Oh no, I took it apart in a magic ball and it was one of those that was in there. In the show, this is the colors that he has for the TV show. And my kids were adamant that they wanted him to have the same colors as in the TV show. So he does. I might make him a green and white one just for my peace of mind. We also have Frog and Toad, the complete collection coming in the mail. I'm very excited about that because I think it'd be just the cutest thing for them to have these. And the books, yeah, the show is absolute. It's like my chill out show right now, my kid appropriate chill out show. I don't know if all of you who have children or watch children have this, where like there are days that are just like, I just need a thing that's like a not very stimulating situation. So like Bluey used to be that for us. Trash Truck was a really good one for a while, but now it's Frog and Toad. And yeah, I'll put it on just for me, just to chill out, because when the kids are around, if it's just me, I'm usually watching knitting podcasts. But yeah, little Toad, his eyes are a little wonk. I can't tell if his eyes are or if I stitched his mouth up way too close to his eye. I'm not sure. I might need to restitch his mouth anyway, so. But I think Frog and Toad will also be part of my fall decor. I've been doing more fall decorations this year than ever, which has been really fun. I did block his little flippers and his hands. Yeah, I was going to say hand flippers, but that's not how that works, I don't think. And so then you just kind of Kitchener his head after you stuff him. Now I put a little felted sock piece and sewed the felted sock piece together, and then filled it with these little glass beads. It's almost like sand, coarse sand, but it's glass. And that has really helped because it helps his little body be heavier on the bottom than the rest of him. And so, yeah, I'm hoping if I prop him up against something, he'll just sit there on the shelf and be such a cutie. Okay, last finished object. This is the last one. Oh, look at that. Look, immediately, I bet some of you saw that this is a different color. You want to know why? So, this is what happened. I had leftover yarn from, I think I might have them right here. Okay, I made these DK weight socks a couple months ago. I don't think it was last month. A little while ago. And they were a little bit big on me. So I sized down my needles from a US 3, which 3.25 millimeter to a 2.75 millimeter. One of the things I didn't think about when I made this switch is that I was switching to a mostly stockinette fabric and not the 2x2 rib that I had going on here, or 3x1 rib that I had going on here. These were too loose on my feet, not enough, negative ease. So I determined to give these as a gift to one of my sisters who has wider feet than I do, which is great. But the plan is that we're going on this camping trip, right? And I wanted to be able to have a pair of fingering weight socks on and then put another pair of DK weight socks on. I don't think this year is going to be as cold as it was last year. But last year when we went, and it's surprising, sometimes the first couple of weeks of October, you can be like, fall comes in the morning, I guess. And then in like the second couple of weeks, it can snow. Like it's just so cold. Last year, it was very, very cold. And so I did these. I did an afterthought heel on these, which I don't normally do. But I was experimenting with two things. One, I was experimenting with the needle size. I kept the same stitch count. I think I did a 48 stitch count. I kind of want to count it to be sure, but I'll just put on the screen what it actually is. But I didn't do the rib on the foot, so I feel like I need to test that out. Now, I almost always do a tread heavy heel and not an afterthought heel. But because I didn't know how much yarn I had and I wanted it to match, I was conflicted. One of the ways you can deal with that is you can do a toe up sock and manage your yarn a little differently. I didn't realize I was going to be having to manage my yarn that way until I had already gotten to, the end of the stripe repeat. So you can see on this one, the stripes are actually going the other direction, I think. What? Are they? Yeah. Oh, that's fun. Okay, so we've got a whole stripe repeat is going to be the maroon, red, orange, yellow, white, blue. Then we're back to maroon, right? But that's not what's happening here, obviously. So I did a whole stripe repeat for both of the socks. I started with this little pop of color with the mini that came with it. And then pulled in this gray, which is another DK yarn that I had, a superwash DK yarn, which I thought was the only superwash DK yarn I have. It is definitely not. I have two more that I totally forgot about in my stash. They're so fun. Totally forgot about them. Cracks me up how much I don't know about what I have sometimes. And I feel like I keep track better than some people I know, but still no. I think I got through the blue and then I had to start managing things really funnily. And I wanted to use the mini, so I started doing gray and then the mini and then the gray. And then I had a stripe from, you can see it starts going the other direction, right? So there was no white stripe, no full white stripe after the blue. So that's why I started going the other direction on the stripe repeats after I cut it anyway. So white, orange, red, maroon. So we have no white. We've got yellow, right? Orange, red, maroon is what I had left of one side. So that makes total sense. Like, self-striping yarns aren't going to come out to exactly like so many repeats. And even if they did, it's not going to make your second pair of socks make sense. You know what I mean? So I had a little bit of gray left. Did not think I had enough. Turns out I did not. But if I had not done the regular stockinette rows that I did to make sure I had a high enough instep that wouldn't be too tight, I think I would have had enough, because I actually have 5 rounds before the Kitchener here, and of course this is like a way bigger stitch count up here. So I probably would have had enough if I was doing a regular one, but that doesn't matter because I wasn't. So I've got this little bullseye situation on these socks, but that is okay. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep them. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep them. I just don't know if DK socks are for me, guys. That's okay. That's okay. I wanted to try them for camping. I don't know if I will because I feel weird about... I don't feel weird about trying things for, like, testing things for gifts for people. Like, I will wear a sweater all day to try to factor in, like, itch factor before I give it to someone, or a shawl or something. But socks, for some reason, are on, like, a different level of, like, this keeps creaking. You okay? They're just kind of on a different level, I think, when it comes to usage. So they knit up so quickly. If I wanted to knit another pair before I left for a camping trip, I totally could. It would only take me a few days to do. I just don't know if I want that to be my priority. So I think what I'm going to do actually after I am done talking with y'all is that I sit down and see if there's anything I actually can finish before we leave on our camping trip, because my kids having woolly socks and like warm enough clothes and stuff is really important to me. So if there's a gap in their wardrobe somewhere, it would be good for me to address that before we go. And it is only 10 days away. So, and I'm so happy. One of the things I forgot to tell you is the half and half wrap was my second to last project for like leftover from 2023. So I have this anthology throw, and that is the only thing left over, the only work in progress left over from 2023. So I'm still debating on whether I should barrel through this or not. I absolutely love the colors. I absolutely love how it's coming out. And I don't know. So all of this is non-superwash fingering weight yarns. I love all the projects that they came from. I don't know how long it will take me to have enough to finish it. I think it would really behoove me to look at last year, where it was at the end of last year, and just be tracking it like how a lot of people do their blankets. This technically is a blanket. I was planning on doing only like 75% of it so that it could be more of like a, you know, big old shawl like I've talked about before. But yeah, I'm going to keep thinking about it. I think one of the things that I've been doing that's been really successful is I've been having some nighttime, like before I go to bed, listening to my audiobook, watching a knitting podcast thing. I just choose a thing, like one thing that I'm going to do while I sit in bed and knit, and then I'm going to go to bed, no matter where I am in the project. So even if I am in the middle of the heel flap, or even if I am like not done with the gusset decreases or whatever, I'm just going to put it down, and like I will see it again in the next evening. So I don't know if I can handle this being that. The stitches there are a lot. There are over 500 on here now, and it just takes forever to get around these rounds. However, there are some eyelet rounds that break it up, which is nice, and so I can kind of track it that way. And for those of you who've been around for a while, you know that is the way that it needs to be. If I can't easily track my progress, I get discouraged very quickly, and I have to like make my own way to figure out how to track it. So I'm excited though that this is the only one left, and I'm gonna I'm gonna look at where my progress was at the end of 2023. I think it was like down here, but maybe I'm just trying to tell myself I made more progress this year than I have. Okay, on to finished objects. The first, or no, we just did that. On to works in progress. Not going backwards, friends. Okay, let me show you. I've got the cutest yarns for this pair of socks for my daughter. She loves pink. She loves bright colors. She loves ruffles. She loves sparkles. She loves lace. She loves all that. This is a Sophie's Toes sock yarn. I don't know what the colorway is. It was gifted to me and I somehow lost the tag. I'm so sorry. But Sophie's Toes sock yarn. And then this one I ordered specifically for this project. It is by Craftily Dyed Yarn called Buried Treasure as a 75/25. So here is one sock. It's a finished sock. This is a test knit for Judy of the Autumn Acorn. When I tell you the serendipitous nature of this test knit, I was looking for a ruffly sock to make for my girls because they like them. And the boys say, no, thank you. They really like them. I found a couple of them on Ravelry, but like there was no way to download it. There was no way to go to a website to purchase it. It was just like, I don't know if it's like an old pattern that's been shut down at that point. I don't understand that part of Ravelry. I don't understand why those pages exist. I don't know. So anyway, right after I was looking for that, Judy put out a test knit call for her Apple Orchard socks, and they're this beautiful lace pattern. And I picked this tonal yarn because I thought it would show the lace really well. And Jane is just over the moon about it. She loves them. She keeps asking if she can try this one on, which is common when it smells like my wool wash. I'm so excited about it. It smells really good. So I did a contrast heel and toe for this one. I think I'm gonna just finish this pair. I'm gonna do a blue pair, I think, for my younger daughter. Her favorite color is blue. And so they'd both have a pair of ruffly socks. And I think I'm going to do a non-ruffle pair for myself. Just like a straight pair. I don't think I'm going to do any contrast, anything. I just think I want the lace bit to shine. I think that'd be really pretty. So anyway, this is the size medium. My little girl, she probably could have done a small, but she is concerned about having room to grow. And being able to wear them for a while. So I did a medium and made sure that there wasn't, that it like fit right to the end of her toes so that it can stretch as she grows a little bit. So it's just so cute. I think this is the one that I'm going to prioritize before we leave so that she can have another pair of woolly socks before we go. They are wearing them all the time. My oldest son, he is 9. And anytime we're going out and it's cold enough that he's not going to be wearing his sandals, he's putting on woolly socks and his tennis shoes. And it's just, my little mama heart, I can't handle it. It's so good. I think he has maybe 4 pairs now. And she has grown out of a couple of her pairs and they've trickled down the line. And so I want to finish these. This second one, I have the ruffle done and I think I've picked up and done like a round. Maybe. Yeah. A round. So I've got my little ruffle. I'm connected. I can just keep going at this point. I'm really excited about having these done. Thank you, Judy, for letting me be a part of the test knit. It was so wonderful. And got to see the names and notes of some old friends from the retreat from earlier this year. Oh my gosh, I can't remember, guys. I can't remember when things happened in my life. Anyway, there's that. If I'm doing a 2x2 rib, which this is a twisted 2x2 rib, but I do like a 2 long tail cast on stitches, 2 German twisted cast on stitches so that the knits and the purls line up on the edge. I really like that. I think it gives it a good amount of stretch. Yeah, so these are just wonderful. I'm really excited about them. You can purchase it right now on Ravelry. I'll have a link in the description box for you to just click and it'll take you right there. Judy is one of the sweetest people I've ever met in my entire life. She's just one of those people that you're like, oh, so your soul is made of gold. Okay, cool. Good to know. And like, we must protect her at all costs type of thing. So this just is so clean. It's so beautiful. And easy to memorize. That is also a thing. Like, easy to memorize this repeat for the lace. So it's just so gorgeous on her little feet. And hopefully the next time we talk to each other, I will have the other one done and they'll look all roughed up because she'll have been wearing them all the time. Another work in progress is another pair of socks I have on the needles. Honestly, I have a bunch of socks on the needles, but I haven't worked on all of them right now. I have a bunch of cuffs just on a needle. Like, they're just cuffs because, yeah, I'm kind of like reserving the needles for that sock. So anyway, and it means that I have like, it's just ready for me to knit on it when I'm ready. So this is I call it the Take Two socks for me. Because I used this yarn. Sorry, I'm going to smile a lot while I talk about this because I just absolutely love it. I used this same yarn. It's Patton's Croy in Clover Colors. Yeah, Clover Colors. And it's this gradient. And so you can see it goes from like this dark green to this orange to the lighter green. And then it goes into like kind of a deep red, which is really pretty. But my foot is not long enough to include that color. So I am just, I'm in love with them. The reason that I'm remaking them is because the bottom of the heels on them wore out. They were my only pair of knit socks for over a year. I wore them so much. Before they even wore out, I did, a lot of work with the tread heavy heel that I have tutorials for on my channel here. And it was to help the longevity of my socks because not only were my socks feeling thinner, but my sister Sarah, who I'd gifted socks to, the ball of the foot on her sock just had like this big old hole on it. Because she was wearing them a lot too. They were the only pair I'd knit her at the time. So I developed the tread heavy sock. And so it's got this little slip stitch heel and you carry it through the heel turn and through the gusset decreases on the bottom. And then you've got this ball of the foot slip stitch patterning on the bottom as well to reinforce those pieces of your sock. Now it's really common to have slip stitch or of course an Eye of Partridge heel is another slip stitch pattern that you can do, and that's so that when you walk in your shoes the way it rubs like that won't blow out the back of your heel. That makes total sense. And I just thought it needed to be more because this part and this part is where my feet cause traction on the floor more than anything else. I have never had a sock blow out back here, and it's probably because of this stitch pattern inside, because I wear them everywhere. I wear them in my shoes. I am hard on my socks and I want them to be able to take that. So same yarn, but new lessons, right? I absolutely adored those socks. And so I have frogged them. I'm going to put them in like a scrappy blanket. I cut out the parts that had worn out and I frogged them and want them to live their life in a scrappy basket or something. But I really wanted them back in my life. So I did the 2x2 cast on that I normally do, long tail, German twisted 2x2 rib for 20 rounds. Then I've got about 60 rounds for my leg, slip stitch, heel flap, and tread heavy heel here. And then I go from the pickup on the heel flap to the start of this slip stitch pattern is 50 rounds. And then I do 10 slip stitches, which is going to be 20 rounds. So my foot is 70 stitches, 70 rounds, and then I start a rounded toe. So this one is done. This one is almost done. I'm really excited about how this one is working up, because this one I did not cut the yarn at any point. I did not change the yarn. I'll put a picture up here about what I was trying to do originally. I got kind of, I want to say maybe halfway through the heel flap, and I was doing what I had learned about taking the inside of your skein and using it for your heel so that you're not disrupting the gradient that's going on there. But I didn't like it. I felt like it actually did disrupt the gradient. I feel like where this meets back up doesn't make it look weird or anything. However, with this sock, I feel like it would, because we are going from this color change into the orange. I'm adjusting my curtains again. The huge sunlight beam is gone now. So I feel like if I had not used what I did in the heel, that picking this up, by the time I got to this, it would be so much more orange than this, you know, where I had, where is it? It's like here. That it would be kind of a line, which is what happened with my first pair with these. One of the socks came out beautifully with the gradient, and the other one, there was like kind of a line on the front of the sock, which I still wore them all the time. They were highly functional, but that part of it bothered me just the littlest bit. As I was wearing them all the time, I was like, okay, lesson learned. You know, the heel flap takes up more than you might think, especially if you're starting with a color change. So I just have a foot to do on this one, and I think the gradient is going to look really nice. I took some of the yarn from what would have come after this green to bring it over here. So you'll see it's actually more red on the heel flap than orange. But also I did kind of an every other thing back here to kind of blend it in. And then I brought the main skein back in. I'm not even halfway through the gusset decreases right now, but that's fine. It's okay. I've been working on them, you know, as my before bed sock knitting project, because they take no brain space for me whatsoever. That's the thing I'm realizing, is that if I choose a thing that I know I can pick up no matter where I left it, I can use that as something I can knit on to wind down. If I choose something that I need to focus on, or that I need to make sure that I'm on like row 4 before I put it down, I just can't work on it at night, because I'll be up forever. As soon as I get to where I said I wouldn't stop, I'll keep going, and yeah, I'll just keep going. Okay, one of the things that I made progress on, it's not, you know, in a new stage or anything. It's, well, I don't know. I guess it depends on how you define new stage. But I've got my daughter's sweater that I'm still working on. This is a self-drafted thing. I'm just trying to figure it out. This is the back panel for the back. For her, I think it's going to be a drop shoulder situation. This is going to be, you know, the body. I don't think it's going to incorporate the sleeves or anything at all. And then these are the rest of the yarn that I crocheted to be just half of what was left on each side. So I'm not sure. The thing I know I don't want is I don't want to have these like setting where they're like sitting on her, like centered on nipple town. So I might actually just make them as like decorative pockets. I might sew a lining on them so that they're functional pockets. I haven't decided yet. One of the things that I know I want to do is cast on the top of the sweater, and then see how this works in that. So I don't know if so the plan is to make a cardigan for all of the kids. This one I started around her birthday. The socks I also started around her birthday. We start things on birthdays because often we cannot be sure that they will be completed by birthdays. So those were birthday cast-ons for her. I think whenever I'm self-drafting something, it just takes forever. Because whenever I have to make a decision, I move on to something that I don't have to make a decision on. And then eventually I don't have any more projects that I don't have to make a decision on. And so I make a decision on some of them and move on and finish them. But that one's going to take maybe 3 or 4 or more decisions before it's done. And I don't know. Maybe everyone will get a cardigan for Christmas or spring equinox next year. Who knows? And the only other thing that I have just the littlest bit of progress on is my muscle bra. This is where we were last time you and I talked. So I have maybe 8-10 rounds on here. This is also Mouse Witch yarn that came in the sock advent. I absolutely love this purple. I think it's going to look really, really pretty in my hair. Yes. And this is my, what do people call it sometimes? Handbag project. I bring it with me in the car if I have a suspicion that I might be waiting somewhere for a little bit. So I will pull it out if we're sitting in a drive-thru and put a few stitches on it. If we, it's basically if we go to a drive-thru, or if I am, I was pretty down the other day and I think I was at the heel flap on the sock. And so I was like, no, I don't even have enough brain power for that. I just need to do, so my son, I asked him, I said, can you bring me one of my knitting projects? And he was like, which one? And I go, it doesn't matter. And he brought me this, and it was so sweet that I just love it. I love him. I love them all. They're so sweet. So I've been crafting a lot this October. It's just a crafty time of year, isn't it? And my yarn space has a bunch of windows in it. It's a covered front porch on our house. And so when it's like a rainy afternoon, I spent this whole rainy weekend sewing, and the process itself was so enjoyable. The skirt came out way too big, which was very frustrating. But I am determined to keep trying. So I think my goal, usually I have projects okay, now that I've finished these, I'm gonna work on these next ones. And I think that will just happen as I organize my space. I do not enjoy a haphazard environment. I know some people actually kind of enjoy the chaos. I really have to work to be okay with it. So I think it's a good talent to have. I think it's actually you must have it at some level to survive. And yeah, I am kind of beyond my limit of knowing what my goals are and what I want to do next. So I think what I'm going to do for this first week, I definitely want to cast on the Stephen West MKL. Did I say I'm from India? MCAL, and see how I feel about it. I'm not committed to it in any way, but I am going to see how I feel about it because I am going to be using stash yarn for it, and I think that's just going to go really well. Now that I've finished the blanket, I feel like I can organize the leftovers, get those all put away, or cast onto a scrappy pair of socks, and kind of recalibrate here. We're definitely getting into Christmas gift knitting season as well. I know that I want to make at least one Christmas gift for people outside of my little family. Last year, I think the year before last, I made mittens for all of my kids. Last year I made socks for all of my kids. I'd really love to make something for all of them again. I probably will have to do socks again because they will need mittens at some point. And it's probably going to be before Christmas. And they already have like a billion hats and cowls and scarves and things. So we'll see. Yeah, I think that's it. I think my upcoming plans are just to sort out my life. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I love knowing who made it to the end. So leave me something, an emoji, a comment, or something to let me know you made it to the end. I absolutely love that. And I will see you guys next time. Thanks. Bye.